Hi, welcome to Devlog number 2. So in this video, 2 milestones have been covered since the last one. So a ton of work has gone into this and got a lot to show for it. Quite a lot actually, so let's just jump straight in. Things look very different from the last time that I was demonstrating things. First of all, there's like all these little weird alien light bulbs sticking out of the ground. The first milestone is called, it's actually the second milestone, but the one we're going to cover first is called Foxfire. And it's to do with lighting. So in the scene here, you can see lots of these little alien plants and they're all emitting lights. So I've been working on what's called a Forward Plus renderer for drawing the lights in the scene. You can put as many lights down really as you want, but at any one time it only supports 32 in one kind of instance. So although this scene has 100 lights, you can see as I move throughout the scene, the ones in the distance pop into action, and as I go back, you can see the other ones kind of pop into focus. And so those are the point lights, which are being emanated from those little alien plants, the sunlight, and then there's the light from the player emitted in the form of a spotlight. So along with all the light work, we also have shadows now. So you can see the spotlight is working, and I'll show you in a second the sort of, well actually let's just go ahead. But before I do that, so you can see that there's also been a lot of improvements in the lighting of the sky in general. So the night sky is a lot more impactful. There's a lot more information being stored in the sky now. The stars are brighter and it's very much HDR. The clouds also now have bloom and a higher threshold for the sun values that are being shined on them. Then to demonstrate some of the other things, I'm just going to move the sun to daytime, go in here. So you can see all the different little assets I have in the game here are casting shadows, and the implementation that I'm using here is something called a cascade shadow map, which basically means there's a bunch of shadows being drawn at different qualities. So you can see here as I'm zoomed out, there's like a low quality version, but as I zoom in, it gets higher. So yeah, there's also been a lot of like little quality of life improvements. So you can focus on things in the editor using the dot command, like you would in Blender. Some new assets to play around with. And yeah, that's basically the first milestone, which is Foxfire, all to do with lighting. And you can read all about it in the docs from GitHub. The second milestone, technically this was the first one I worked on, is called Mycelium. And the idea with this one is it's the networking information that is hidden from the player. It's very important, and it's what basically is going to be saving all this information to the server. Much like the mycelium fungal networks in nature. You're probably seeing that kind of like these nature milestone names. Probably will keep up with that. But yeah, so this is mycelium. This one, there's also a ton of work going on here, but the main focus of this was to basically introduce a bunch of servers in your browser that save your data locally. So we have 2 servers created here. So the one is a database that's running in your browser, and then there's another one which is kind of like a local file storage. So as you're working in these editors and you're saving things and deploying things, it's actually saving that information to your local machine. Even the assets are getting saved to the local storage. So database and local storage. And you can see I'm not actually signed in here, and it still works, right? So I can, I'm not even signed in, but I can refresh this and I can go and have a look, and my project's still here. Now, what Mycelium does is that the moment you log in, it will push all that to the server. So it'll create an account for you the moment you log in, if you haven't got one, and push all that data. So I see this infrastructure as local first. So local is the source of truth. Everything gets done locally. And then at various points when you save or deploy, it pushes it to the server. And if you open on a different computer, maybe you open it up at work, you sign in with your email account there, well, in that case, it will sync and it'll pull everything in and you'll have all your information. And why did I choose this kind of architecture? Well, it's kind of like because I sort of hate going to an app, wanted to try the app, but they guard it against the email login. And the amount of times that I've just like canceled, never gone through something because I just thought like, I don't know who you are. I don't know if I trust giving you my email. And this way, this just, it creates less friction. You can go in, try it. You can even persist it. And no one's asking you for any login until you sign in. And then the moment you do, everything gets synced behind the scenes. So yeah, you can try all this stuff out yourself. Again, just a sort of like tip for all those who've never done it, create new projects. You have to create at least one container. So add a container, double click the container to activate it. You see it's now activated with those lines. You can drag in a few things here. Like I just dragged in like the alien plant, crate, and tennis ball. When you're happy, hit the save and deploy. And then that will basically create the game, which you can then run in. As for all these little weird alien things, I know you didn't add them. That's very much like test data that I've put in them. So there's actually a scripting engine that I have created that's doing that. Which brings me on to the next thing very quickly. What's coming up next? I have two ideas. One of them is to focus on the scripting. So to really start to flesh that out, expose it in the editor, and then we actually can start to get into like having, people come in and actually building something that might be useful to them. And I won't have to hard code weird alien plants everywhere. The other one is to still focus on the rendering and this time kind of focus on the terrain. So at the moment, it's the same terrain getting generated every time, even though it is procedural and, you can keep running and it'll never end. I kind of like the idea of creating biomes for the terrain, not placement of, plants and things like that, just the terrain itself. So mountain regions moving into plains. And then another important concept is being able to modify that terrain in the game or in the editor. So even though everything is kind of dynamic at first, generated, you can create your own custom world in the editor and say like, it could just be, the starting point, like a dynamic world, but then you can kind of make it what you want it to be. But and the same thing in the game. I'm not going to talk about too much of that yet, but there will be an aspect of the game that has terrain manipulation in it. So those are two ideas. I don't know yet which one I'm going to go with. Watch this space. You can follow me on Blue Sky, Matt Henson, bsky.social, and obviously MK Henson Rewild is the repo on GitHub. And that's it. I guess I'll see you in the next one. Bye.